What's going on, guys? Arrow here, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the concerns with Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, as well as Game Freak's official answers. Now by now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of all the things that are going on with Pokemon Sword and Shield, mainly the fact that there isn't going to be a national Pokedex, so you won't be able to have every single Pokemon, but there's also other various things that people are upset about as well. Now within a Famitsu interview, Game Freak has given some official answers about how they feel about some of the things with Pokemon Sword and Shield and why they made the decisions that they have. And so I'll have this article linked in the description if you guys want to go and check it out for yourself, but I'm going to also give you guys my thoughts about how I feel about Game Freak's answers, and then we'll take a look at some of your responses from Twitter. Now before we get started, I do want to mention real fast that I am giving away a $20 Nintendo eShop card on my Twitter, so all you gotta do to have a chance to win that is go to my Twitter, give me a follow, and retweet that tweet. I'll have it linked in the description, and I'll also make it the pinned comment as well, but I just wanted to mention that real fast. Now this article consists of answers from Game Freak's Mr. Junichi Masuda, as well as Mr. Shigeru Omori. And so while I'm giving you guys my thoughts about how I feel about Game Freak's responses, I also want to just let you guys know that I'm still looking forward to playing Pokemon Sword and Shield. I still pre-ordered the games, and I'm still buying them day one. I'm sure I'm still going to get a lot of fun out of playing Pokemon Sword and Shield, but I'm also going to admit that there are some flaws and things that are wrong with this game that need to be addressed so that hopefully Game Freak can learn from them and do better with their next projects. There's nothing wrong with admitting the flaws of something as long as you're doing it in a respectful way and you're not like attacking people who have an opposing viewpoint, you're not attacking like the official Pokemon account or like the developers, then there's nothing wrong with doing that. In my opinion, 3 of the best games that are on the Nintendo Switch right now are Xenoblade Chronicles 2, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Super Mario Odyssey. All of these are legendary class games in my opinion. I had a ton of fun playing through all of them. I'd give all of them a 10 out of 10, but at the same time, all of these all have their own flaws and problems in their own ways. And so the point that I'm trying to get across here is that every game has its flaws, and there's nothing wrong with talking about them as long as you're doing it in a respectful manner, and we're doing this so that hopefully Game Freak can see them and see what the fans are concerned about and hopefully improve them, because at the end of the day here, we're all Pokemon fans and we just want to see Pokemon be the best that it can be. Alright, so moving on to the article, the first thing that it talks about is the focus on the quality of animations over the quantity of Pokemon. Now Mr. Omori revealed that even during the production of Pokemon Sun and Moon, it was difficult to animate all of the Pokemon and include them in their entirety. He goes on to say that since the hardware was changing for the next games, they had to remake all of the models, which could mean that they had to rework all of the 3DS models to properly work on the Switch. They were forced to make a choice of which Pokemon would appear in Sword and Shield. Now here are my concerns with this statement. The first thing that Mr. Omori said was that they really wanted to focus on the quality of animations, but we've already seen right now from what people have proved online that the animations in Pokemon Sword and Shield are literally the same exact animations that we've had in Pokemon Sun and Moon on the Nintendo 3DS. Like I'll have the video playing on screen for you guys right now, but you can see like the idle animations for all these Pokemon are exactly the same. The attacking animations are exactly the same. The fainting animations are exactly the same. Even all of the move animations are exactly the same as what we've had with Pokemon X and Y from 6 years ago. Like Double Kick looks exactly the same, Tail Whip looks exactly the same, and not to mention that our new rival inside of this game, Rival Hop, literally has the same exact animations as Hau from Pokemon Sun and Moon. And I'll have that video with the comparison on screen for you guys. You can see right now he literally does the exact same animation. Like they did not even change it up slightly, it's literally the same exact animation. Now you might be thinking, well Arrow, who cares about a couple of animations? It's freaking Double Kick and Tail Whip, like it doesn't really matter, those are irrelevant moves, like, you know, we don't even care about the move animations all that much. The problem is that this is on the Nintendo Switch now. There is potential to make these animations look amazing, and the thing is we've already seen that Pokemon can have high animations on a console. This is Pokemon Battle Revolution from 2008, I think that's when this game came out in North America, and you can see some of these animations that I'm gonna have playing right now with like Thunderbolt and Ice Beam and Double Kick even, like these move animations look clean and look really nice on the Wii. And these animations are all from a game that is over a decade old. And so you guys can see right here that these animations look much better and definitely have more expression and quality compared to what we're seeing right now in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And the thing is, even if these animations can't improve, they could at least be the same quality as what we had with Pokemon Battle Revolution. And so it's not really about the graphics and animations as to why people are upset about Sword and Shield, it's more the fact that Game Freak said that they were focusing on the animations and that's why there's no national dex inside of these games, when we can clearly see that a lot of them are literally just taken from old assets that they've already had. Now, are there some good animations inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield? Yes. There's definitely still some new animations that I've seen that they've created, and those do look really nice. The best example for this is the Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing animations. Those are definitely brand new and have been created, and they do look pretty clean. And especially those powerful moves that they use once they're Dynamaxed as well, those all have their own unique animations, and those look very cool as well. So those are definitely some brand new high quality animations that I will give them props on. But the thing is, they're saying that they focused a lot on the quality of animations, where we can see that yes, there are some good animations inside of these games, but a majority of them are still the same exact ones that we've been used to. Now the next part of this response that I want to talk to you guys about is how Game Freak said that they reworked all of the models. Now when this article was first sent to me on Twitter, everybody was saying that this meant that Game Freak recreated all of the models for the Pokemon from scratch and that they're not the same ones that they're using on the 3DS. But after people have actually read through this entire interview and have translated everything, they do say that they reworked all of the models, but it doesn't indicate anywhere that they recreated them from scratch. It just says that they reworked them. And so this could be taken both ways. Like, it could mean that they did actually recreate all of the models from scratch, or it could mean that they just took them and tweaked things and kind of changed things, and then they can say that they reworked them. Personally, I think that it is the second option, because if we take a look at the two models, you can see that if we compare the 3DS one and the Switch one, they look exactly the same, except the Switch one is just higher resolution. It's just a clever way of Game Freak phrasing how they worked on the models. I'm going to try to give you guys a better example so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. So let's pretend like I have a sandwich. Now let's say that I take apart the sandwich, so I take out the bread and the lettuce and the cheese, and then I start putting it back together again, but this time I add new stuff like pickles and ketchup and mustard. So now I'm recreating this whole sandwich again. Can I say that I remade the entire sandwich? I mean, technically I can, right? I took it apart, I added some new stuff to it, and then I remade it. But did I recreate a sandwich from scratch? No, I basically just used the same exact things, but I added new stuff to it. That's kind of what I feel like Game Freak could have done. I'm not saying that they did do this because we don't have any proof. They could have very well done them from scratch again, but I'm saying that this is kind of the idea of what I'm thinking that they're trying to say. I think that that's what they mean. Like, they essentially like took apart the model, probably added new stuff to it, fixed some of the textures, made it look better, and now they're saying that they completely redid all of the models because they did them for all the Pokemon that are going to appear inside of Sword and Shield. The next thing that Mr. Omori stated was that he goes on to believe that once players experience the features inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield, such as the wild area and the story, they will understand the scope of the project and recognize why Game Freak had to limit the number of Pokemon that they included. Now this is one of those things that we won't understand until we actually play the games for ourselves. Basically, Mr. Omori is saying that you're going to understand why there's no national Pokedex and why they cut so many Pokemon after you play through and experience Pokemon Sword and Shield's story and the wild area and all of the content. Now the thing with this is that I just hope that he's telling the truth. I mean, he does seem pretty confident whenever he's talking about Pokemon Sword and Shield. If you guys don't know, Mr. Omori is the director of these games, and he's even mentioned that they've incorporated a lot of things into the post game for Pokemon Sword and Shield, and he said that fans are going to be happy about that. So hopefully that turns out to be the case, but at the same time, he's also the director, he's also working on these games, and he wants people to buy them, so obviously he's going to make his game sound amazing. And we've seen this in the past when Game Freak tries to make certain aspects of their games seem really hype, but once you actually play them, you find out that they're really not as exciting as you thought they would be. The best example of this is last year with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. They were talking about how the post game has a lot to offer, and how they have like these master trainers, and you're gonna have to work really hard, and they're a real tough challenge to beat them. But once people actually played through Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, they found out like, yeah, there's really not that much in the post game. The master trainers aren't even all that much fun. And the same kind of goes with like Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon as well. They were talking about like how like Ultra Megalopolis was this amazing place, and you're gonna have to learn about Necrozma and all of that, but once you actually explored the place, you found out like there's not even that much to explore. It's not like a really big area or anything like that. So we've seen they do things like this where like they make their game seem really exciting, but once you actually get them, they're not really as exciting as you thought they would be. And then finally, the last thing that it says here is that Mr. Masuda assured fans that they were going to make great efforts to ensure that even if a Pokemon didn't appear in Sword and Shield, that they would appear in an upcoming title, and that no matter what, Pokemon Home would be available to them while they wait. And so here, he's just basically saying that if you have a favorite Pokemon like Garchomp, and Garchomp doesn't appear inside of the Sword and Shield Pokedex, it doesn't mean that you're never going to get to transfer Garchomp and see it in HD. You're just going to have to wait for an upcoming game to come out, and then in that Pokedex hope that Garchomp is in it, and then you'll be able to transfer into those games. And then finally, the last important thing here was that when they asked whether or not Pokemon who already appear inside of Sword and Shield would be able to appear in future titles since their models have already been complete, Mr. Masuda answered that the team was still looking into the possibilities. He went on to say that the battle mechanics such as Mega Evolution and Dynamaxing that affected many of the Pokemon would be difficult to implement even if the graphical work had already been done. Now this is one of those things where I'll be pretty disappointed if it doesn't turn out to be the case. Basically what they're saying here is that you're already going to have a whole bunch of HD models that are already done with Pokemon Sword and Shield. And so what they're saying is that in the next games that come out, probably like the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remix, they're going to make a whole bunch of HD models for Pokemon that didn't appear inside of Sword and Shield. And so what they're saying is that can you already have the Pokemon that do appear inside of Sword and Shield also appear in the Diamond and Pearl remakes because you already have the HD models done. Like there's no reason why they shouldn't already be able to appear. Because if that's the case, then they don't really have that many Pokemon to do, and then they can have a full Pokedex inside of those games. It's like you already have half the Pokemon that have HD models inside of Sword and Shield, then you make the other half inside of Diamond and Pearl remakes or whatever the next games are, and then by those two games together, you have the entire national dex. And that's when Mr. Masuda responded by saying that it might not be possible, and that could be pretty disappointing, like especially if they already have the models done. Like there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to have all of the Pokemon between like two games and have a whole complete national dex, because that's going to be really annoying if there's going to be certain Pokemon inside of Sword and Shield that don't appear in the Diamond and Pearl remakes, and then there's certain ones in those games that can't be found in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like that's just going to be really annoying because there's going to be two Pokedexes that are different for two games in the same generation. It's just going to be very bad, so I'm really hoping that that doesn't turn out to be the case. Like I better want a full complete national dex between those two games, because there's really no reason. You already have all the HD models done from Sword and Shield, so bring all of those over and then just create the HD models for the Pokemon that are remaining when you're developing Diamond and Pearl remakes. And the thing on top of that is the Diamond and Pearl remakes probably wouldn't even take that much effort as well. Like I'm sure there's going to be effort to create everything, but the point is like it's going to be using the same engine as Pokemon Sword and Shield. We've seen this before where remakes use the same engine as the new generation. That's why Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire looks just like it did with X and Y, but Sun and Moon was like the next one that actually changed how the graphics look, so that's probably going to be the same case this time. The Diamond and Pearl remakes will look just like how they did with Pokemon Sword and Shield, like the same graphics engine. They already have everything done, all the characters, all the gyms, all the region. There's nothing new to create compared to like a new generation, because they have to create new Pokemon, new characters, new all of that stuff. So they have a lot of that stuff already done for them, so there's really no reason why they shouldn't be able to create all of the remaining models. And so that's how I feel about the remaining two Pokemon. It is still a whiles away until we'll hear about the Diamond and Pearl remakes or the next new games that are going to come out, but I'm really hoping between those two games, as well as Sword and Shield, that there's a full national dex of Pokemon that you can transfer back and forth, because if there's going to be certain Pokemon inside of the Diamond and Pearl remakes and certain Pokemon in Sword and Shield that you just can't transfer to each other, it's just going to be very chaotic, and a lot of people, myself included, are not going to like that. Now I tweeted about this on my Twitter as well. I said, what are your overall general thoughts about Pokemon Sword and Shield in terms of the national dex, the animations, and the games? How do you feel about Game Freak's answers toward the concerns and problems? Reply to this tweet with your thoughts and you could be featured in my next video. Weevil here is saying, I'm not a hardcore Pokemon fan, so personally this doesn't affect me, although for many others I have a general understanding of how others are affected. We can take Pokemon competitive and compare it to the national dex being removed. We've got a weaker metagame because of it, and a weaker metagame equals less opportunities of an outbreak of new strategies. We will most likely always see a bland metagame that doesn't appeal to anyone, from the audience and to the players. Game Freak has overall made a lot of mess ups, and this is one example of many. Now here I totally agree with you. The fact that we have limited Pokemon here means that the pool of Pokemon that people can choose from to use in competitive play is also going to be much smaller than what we've had before, and that means that people aren't going to be able to come up with crazy strategies and try new things because they just don't have access to those Pokemon. It's kind of like if you guys remember that one time when the dude won Pokemon World using a Pachirisu and everybody was going nuts because it was like a Pokemon that nobody expected. It was a weak Pokemon, like people were like, how are you going to incorporate this? And he ended up winning so many battles because of it. And the thing here is that people can't even try to use Pokemon like that because they probably just won't even be in the Pokedex. Once Pokemon Sword and Shield are going to come out, people are going to learn like what the powerful competitive Pokemon are that appear inside of the Pokedex, and then it's just going to be those same Pokemon that you're going to see in competitive play over and over again, except some people are just going to have slight modifications. Some will have like different IV spreads and EV spreads, different movesets and stuff, but it's going to be like the same Pokemon basically just over and over again. It's kind of like if you guys remember before when everybody used Aegislash and Landorus and Mega Kangaskhan, it's kind of going to be like that. Like people are going to find out which Pokemon are the strong ones to use in competitive play from the Galar Pokedex, and then you're just going to keep seeing those in competitive play over and over and over. Floette Eternal here is saying completely removing the national dex moving forward is... They cut so many corners and now they're cutting the Pokemon too? No, and Genius Sonority did a much better job with the animations and on a weaker console. Now if you guys don't know what Genius Sonority is, that's the company that worked on the animations for like Pokemon Battle Revolution that I showed you guys in the video earlier. Now the thing is, I definitely agree with you in the fact that cutting out the Pokemon just doesn't seem right. Personally, I really do think that every Pokemon should be inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield. The thing is, every Pokemon was in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, and that game cartridge is 4 GB. The Nintendo Switch game cartridges can be up to 32 GB. There's really no reason why they can't fit every single Pokemon into the games, and the thing is, Pokemon is a media empire. Pokemon is literally the most powerful media franchise in the world. I can put the list up for you guys right now. You can see, it's #1, it makes so much money. They have billions and billions of dollars. There's really no reason that they can't hire more developers or just hire the people to code in all the HD Pokemon to appear inside of Pokemon Sword and Shield. They definitely have the money and the budget, so there's really no reason why we can't have every Pokemon inside of Sword and Shield. Sans here saying, personally the National Dex doesn't affect me as there's a lot of forgettable Pokemon. The graphics and animations, however, there's no excuse for how it looks, and that's totally true as well. We've seen so many of the animations are literally right from the Nintendo 3DS, and that's just not right to have the same exact animations for a brand new Pokemon adventure on the Switch with this powerful console. Adam here is saying the main issue that I have with these games is the way that they say that they remade all of the Pokemon's models on the Switch. That sounds like a load of BS to me, and Let's Go they just transferred all the models over, and in Sword and Shield, as we have seen, they are just upscaled models. Using this as an excuse for no National Dex is extremely lame. The only new models and animations I have seen would be the new forms. For instance, the new Gigantamax and Dynamax moves, and the Pokemon have new models and new move animations. However, the move animations look 2013 X and Y copies. And here I totally agree with you as well. The move animations are literally exactly what we've had since Pokemon X and Y for 6 years, and on an HD console they deserve to look so much better, and there's so much potential for them, especially like what we've seen with Pokemon Battle Revolution, and so this just doesn't feel right. Pyra here is saying, I don't mind the National Dex missing. I usually play with the new Pokemon and beat the game, but when they said that they're going to do high quality animations and videos float around proving that's not the case in point, I'm disappointed. Now, like you, there's actually a lot of other people that also commented like this, saying that they never transfer their Pokemon anyway, they just keep them in their old games. And so if that's the case, then the whole National Dex doesn't mean anything to you. But there's also a lot of people who have like that one special Blaziken from Pokemon Ruby that they always bring into every game with them, and it's just gonna suck when they get to Sword and Shield and aren't able to bring their beloved Pokemon. But in terms of the animations, I totally agree with you. They're literally the same exact ones from the 3DS, and that's just not right. Like, we deserve to have brand new, better ones in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Steven here is saying, I was disappointed with the removal of the National Dex, but that wasn't a huge issue with me like it was with other fans. My problems lie with the overall quality of the game, like the animations being reused and stiff, and the visuals sometimes being underwhelming, and other small issues. And so this I can also agree with you as well. I mean, for the very first Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch, especially like since they've already had experience working with Pokemon Let's Go, I really expected Pokemon Sword and Shield to look very impressive in terms of the graphics, not like super realistic Skyrim level graphics, but the thing is, when you're moving onto the Switch, you're going to be compared with games like Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, not in terms of content and how the game is, but in terms of how they look. Like, these are console level games on the same exact platform that Pokemon is going to be now, so you would expect them to look kind of better, not just like what Pokemon Sun and Moon looks like, and then just take them and upscale it a little bit, alter the textures a little, and make that, because it doesn't really look like a game that deserves to be on the Nintendo Switch. And finally, Stefan here is saying, holy... There's multiple ways to look at this, and honestly, this is a weak game considering the brand that it is. By the time I finish my thoughts, you would already be done with that video. So instead, I'm just going to tell you my positives. I like the female trainer, I like the Pokemon Direct before E3, and I like how quick they were about not all the Pokemon in the game instead of surprising the fans by the launch date. That's it. And yeah, I can kind of agree with you as well. There's a lot of problems with it, but there's definitely some cool things as well. Like, there's definitely still some positives. I don't want you guys to get the impression that I'm not like thinking that there's anything positive about these games at all. The music seems kind of cool. The new Pokemon designs I like as well. The characters seem cool. Leon, Sonia, all of them seem pretty cool as well. So there's definitely still some positives, but there's also a lot of things that are wrong with the game. And so there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts to Game Freak's responses to the concerns with Pokemon Sword and Shield. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please be sure to click that like button and also comment down below and let me know what you guys think of this. How do you guys feel about all these issues and concerns? Are you happy by them? Are you disappointed? How do you feel about everything? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. If you're new to this channel, then please be sure to subscribe. Definitely going to have some more Pokemon content in the future, so please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Click on that bell to become a part of the notification squad. Go follow me on Twitter at @ActualArrow so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Xenoblade and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. And remember to enter my giveaway as well. I am giving away a $20 Nintendo eShop card, and so if you want to have a chance to win that, then all you got to do is follow me on Twitter. I'll have it linked in the description, and I'll also make it a pinned comment. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.